Genesis 22. After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains. I've always wanted a big chess piece, and as a Christian, I wanted to do something that represented Jesus' sacrifice for his people. And I wanted to do it in a very non-traditional way. I believe that a lot of the Old Testament stories and promises are fulfilled in the New Testament of Jesus. So I thought, what a better way to kind of have this as a memorial is to think about the story of Abraham and Isaac, where Abraham is going to kill his son, which is kind of foreshadowing of what ultimately God would do as a sacrifice and sacrificing his son. So I thought it would be a really cool story to tell through art. The first session was intense because we had to do the entire outline the first day because I guess it would be too hard to do part of an outline and come back. So I think I was in the chair for 9 hours, and then the whole thing was probably 12 hours or something like that that day with all the prep and everything. So after that day, I could literally do nothing but just lay in bed. It was awesome. It was a really fun experience. It was really cool to come get a tattoo, and really get a tattoo anywhere because you really just you and the pain really, and not a whole lot of room to think about anything else except for like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Because it hurts so bad, and then after you're like, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this. But no, I'm just really happy with it. Really has a lot of meaning to me, a lot of symbolism. Like I said, it's a memorial for me, and I'm just really excited about it. The Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, seeing that you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, The Lord Will Provide. As it is said to this day, On the mount of the Lord it shall be provided. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, By myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you, and I will surely multiply your offspring, as the stars of heaven and as the sand that is on the seashore. And your offspring shall possess the gates of his enemies, and in your offspring shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived in Beersheba.